Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be testing out and reviewing the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer. Now this is not a new concealer, however they just recently released a ton of new shades. Before they only had a handful of shades, now there are 48 different shades to choose from with this concealer, which is just amazing. So this concealer retails for $26 US. Like I said, it comes in 48 different shades. I grabbed the shade Tan Sand to try out today. You get 0.40 fluid ounces worth of product, and it has a shelf life of 24 months, which is pretty long for a concealer. So this is a #1 best-selling, award-winning, waterproof concealer that is going to deliver high pigmented, long-lasting coverage that is not going to crack or crease on you. It also includes anti-aging peptides, vitamins, hydrolyzed collagen, hyaluronic acid, and vitamins that are going to improve the appearance of wrinkles and effectively conceal the look of skin's imperfections, including dark circles, bags, redness, hyperpigmentation, broken capillaries, age spots, and discoloration. As far as how to use it, it states that you should warm a tiny amount in between your fingers, then tap it onto the skin and blend it out using one of their brushes. And it can also be worn as a foundation. So per usual, I am going to be testing this concealer out with and without a color corrector underneath it to see what kind of coverage I get with and without and how it wears throughout the day. I'm also going to be setting it with a powder just very, very lightly. The one that I'm going to be using for today is my RCMA No Color Loose Powder. That is the one that I love to use because it doesn't give you any flashback. It doesn't dry out the under eye area for me, and it also doesn't alter the color underneath it. So that is why I like to use that one. So now I'm simply going to jump off camera really quickly in order to apply foundation onto the entire face. I'm also going to be color correcting the right under eye area before coming back and concealing. Okay, so now I am back with foundation and color corrector underneath this right under eye. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of this concealer and I'm actually going to put it on the back of my hand, and then that way I can still warm it up with my ring finger here. It's quite thick. It does feel really thick. So I'm assuming that a little is going to go a long way. So I'm going to be light-handed with it. I don't want to go too heavy. So now that I've warmed it up here with my finger, I'm going to grab it and just apply it onto the under eye area. No, I really like the way that this is blending out with my finger. Sometimes when I'm applying concealers onto the under eye with the finger, you can kind of see the finger stamps, and so you always need to go back in with something and continue to blend it out so that you don't have any lines left behind. This one doesn't seem to be doing that. Even though I'm blending it out, it seems to be staying in place, which I like. All right, so it blended out nicely with just my finger. I don't feel like I need a brush or my damp 3D HD blender, my beauty sponge. I don't feel like I need any of that in order to continue to blend it out. It looks pretty good. So now we're going to move on to the left side. All right, so it looks good. I'm getting really nice full coverage from this concealer, which I love, but I definitely have to set this based on what it feels like. It's really creamy, it's pretty thick. I'm positive that it is going to settle in between my fine lines underneath the eyes if I don't set it, so I'm going to be setting it. So I'm going to be setting it lightly. I'm not going too heavy with it. I don't like a lot of powder underneath the eye area. So I'm just going to grab some of my RCMA No Color Powder. I'm taking that on my damp HD, 3D HD, and I just shake off any of the excess, which leaves me with a nice thin layer of powder on the sponge here. Now I'm just going to tap the under eye area with it. Okay, so initial thoughts, I like it. I like the way, I prefer the way that it looks with the color corrector though. Like it just, for me, it looks a little bit smoother than this side, and you all will see here in a second when I zoom you in. The right side just looks smoother. The application doesn't look like this one. So I don't know what it is about the color corrector being underneath that helped it, but it definitely did. So now I'm going to zoom you all in so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after initial application. All right, so this is what the under eye area currently looks like. I must say I love the coverage of this concealer. It's giving me excellent coverage. However, I feel like the right side, the side that I applied the color corrector underneath, I feel like that looks smoother to me than this side, but great coverage nonetheless. All right, so now I'm just going to jump off camera once more in order to finish off the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Okay, so now I am back with a full face of makeup. So far, so good. The concealer still looks good. It's not settling into any lines or anything like that, and it's still giving really good coverage. So it is currently 10:11 in the morning. I do plan on wearing this for an entire 8-hour day, and I am going to be coming back halfway through the day in order to show you all some close-ups and to talk to you all a little bit about how the concealer has been wearing throughout the day up to that point. So I will see you all back here in a few hours for my midday check-in. Okay, so now I'm back for my midday check-in. It is currently 2:32 in the afternoon. So I've had this concealer on now for 4 solid hours. Now before I get into my midday opinion of this concealer, I'm going to zoom you all in so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after about 4 hours of wear. Okay, so this is what the under eye area currently looks like. I feel like as of right now, I'm getting better coverage on this side. I don't know, for whatever reason, it seems to have worn off right here on the color corrected side. This side is still, you know, fully covered, but my fine lines are just very, very accentuated, and I'm not okay with that. So that's the only downside. Other than that, I feel like it is separating. I don't know if y'all can see that, but like here on this side, and then here a little bit on this side, not so much on this side, more so on this side. It's just separated in between my fine lines, and that happens with some concealers that I've worn, this now being one of them as well. So as you can see, I'm still getting coverage. It's just not looking the same way that it was at the beginning of the day, unfortunately, but we still have another 4 hours to go. If it stays looking like this, especially on the right side, I'm not, you know, I wouldn't be upset about it, and I wouldn't call this concealer a no-go because it's still doing a really good job at concealing my under eye area. It's worn off a little bit here, but overall it still looks pretty good. The only thing that I don't like on this side is that it is looking a little bit dry, and it is starting to separate, which is never a good thing for me. I don't like that at all. So we'll see. We'll see how we end our day. I do plan on finishing off my day at around 7 o'clock in order to give this concealer a full day's worth of wear. So I will see you all back here at the end of the night for my final thoughts on this concealer. Okay, so now I am back for my final check-in. It is currently 7:26. So I've had this concealer on now for about 9 hours. So before I get into my overall opinion on this concealer, I'm going to zoom you all in one last time so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after about 9 hours of wear. Okay, so this is what the under eye area currently looks like. As you can see, nothing's really changed from my midday check-in, or it hasn't changed much. This side still looks a little bit dry to me. I'm assuming it's because I set it. But like I mentioned, had I not set it, I think it would have definitely settled in between my fine lines. And yeah, this side is also looking a little dry, and the concealer wore off there. But it didn't wear off here, so I don't know. So in conclusion, I am not really sure how I feel about this concealer. I don't prefer the way that it wore on the left side simply because it looks dry. Also, it's separated in between my fine lines, which I don't like. I hate when concealers do that, but I don't know if it had anything to do with the setting powder that I used. I prefer the way that it wore on the right side, just simply because it doesn't look as dry. However, I lost a little bit of coverage. So I don't know what to think about it. I think for this concealer, I'm going to have to play with it at least a couple more times in order to see whether or not I can make it work, whether or not it wears differently without a setting powder or perhaps a different setting powder. I don't know. I'm going to have to play with this one. I hate that I'm leaving you all without a definite answer. I test products for an entire day in order to try to develop a good idea of whether or not I like something, because I feel like after wearing it, even just one time, you can tell whether or not a product is going to work for you, moving forward. Sometimes it does take a little bit longer though. I rarely run into those situations where I'm on the fence and I think that maybe I can make it work. Maybe it didn't work for me this time because XYZ, and I can make it work if I change this or that. So that is how I feel about this product, and I'm gonna have to play with it. I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit more, perhaps, like I said, a couple more times to see whether or not I can make it work in different ways. I'm thinking perhaps not setting it next time, but it was settling into my fine lines a little bit. I could see that it was settling into my fine lines, which is why I decided to set it. But I think setting it made it look dry, and I don't know. I'm quite conflicted with this particular concealer. So I'm gonna have to test it out a couple more times, and then I will get back to you all in a future video as to, whether or not I made it work. And if I did make it work, how it worked out for me, I'll let you all know. So that is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's product review and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future product reviews, makeup tutorials, anything beauty related. And also don't forget to follow me on all of my other social media platforms where I absolutely love to interact with you all. I'm All Beauty by Sarah with an H on Instagram and All Beauty by Sarah without the H on Snapchat and Twitter. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.